Hi all, I am Pramod Gupta and I welcome you to my YouTube channel, Data My Passion. So in this channel, I bring a lot of videos related to data science, and if you are new to my channel, you can subscribe to my channel, hit the bell icon so that you will get all notification related to my upcoming videos. And don't forget to share with your friends. It will definitely help them out too. So without any further delay, let's start today's video. So today we are going to see sets in Python. So I have already created a video on list and tuples in my Python playlist. The link is already given in the description section of this video. You can go and have a look at it. So sets in Python. First of all, what is set? Set is an unordered collection of unique elements having heterogeneous data types. So what I want to say here is, so set is an unordered collection. So when I say unordered collection, it means while defining a set, whatever order of element you have given. Suppose while defining a set, you have given an order 1, 2, maybe 4, 5, 9, right? This is the order you have given. You have given like 1, 2, 4, 3. So the order you have given first as 1, second as 2, and third as 4. Okay, but the set will not guarantee that it will preserve the same order in which you have defined the set. So that's why it is called unordered collection of elements, and it is saying it is an unordered collection of unique element. So it means that set does not allow duplicate entries. So whatever value you put under set, it will be unique. You cannot have two same value in a set. Okay, it is, this set is that set which we have studied in our 9th or 10th standard. Okay, so that is that set. So let's see. Set is an unordered collection of unique element having heterogeneous data type. It simply means that you can store number and string, both the data you can store in set, in set collection, which I am talking about Python. Okay, so in Python you can have a set data type or collection in which you can have a unique element which would be unordered because it will not preserve your order, and heterogeneous data type. That's what a set is. So let me re-utter what is set. Set is an unordered collection of unique element having heterogeneous data type. So let's see the property of set first of all. So set is an unordered collection. So these are all property which I have already specified in my definition. Like set is an unordered collection. It does not allow duplicate element. The elements are immutable, that is you cannot change it, and no index operation is allowed. So as I have already mentioned, the set does not preserve your order. So if your order is not preserved in which you have defined your elements, you cannot do the indexing, because indexing require a fixed position, right? And since the position is not fixed, you cannot have index operation, right? So these are 4 properties I would say for set. Now let me show you through the help of code how you can create an empty set. So while creating a set, you can use a constructor called set, and this is how you are defining a set using a constructor set, and the collection name or a variable name I have given, object name I have given as a. So if I execute the code, you will see an empty set is defined, and if you want to see the type of that variable, it is telling you it is a set, right? So this is one way of defining that. There is another way, since this set is represented by a curly braces. So if you try to do this way, it will say it is a dictionary, because set and dictionary have almost same symbol. So this curly braces is also used for dictionary, but in dictionary, which I am going to teach you in my upcoming video, we should have a key and value pair. Then only it will call as a dictionary. But since you have not defined anything in this curly braces, this particular compiler treat that you are trying to declare a dictionary, and that's why it is saying dict. But when you give a element, say 1, okay, 1 first element you want to give it, you can see that it has defined a set here, and if you see the type, it is set. So until you have not defined a first element, it will treat that as a dictionary, and if you just define a one element, it will again treat that as a set. So this is a way to define a set, I would say. Okay, now let's see few other option. So here I am trying to declare a set X having the weekdays, right? So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. This is your curly braces in which we are defining the elements. So these are your elements, and if I just execute that code, you will see now you can see that unordered set I said, right? So this is your Monday first I have defined, but the order is not preserved. You can see Monday is put it at one position, second position, I would say, right? If you go for indexing is 0, 1, but indexing does not support in set. So this is your second position where you have saved your Monday. Now Tuesday you can see is saved here. So this is definitely whatever you define, all the element will be there in set, but the ordered will not be guaranteed, right? This is your set. Now suppose you have all the element defined in your set, you want to retrieve one item at a time. You want to retrieve all elements from a set. How can you do that? You can run a loop, for loop, and you can iterate through it. So this is how you can do that. For X in set X, print X. So this is how you can iterate, or you can get all the element which is defined in this particular set. Okay. Next, let's see whatever property I have mentioned it here, right? It's an unordered collection, does not allow duplicate, element is immutable, no indexing operation is allowed. Let's see them practically. Okay, I have told you that it's immutable. You cannot change that element. See, I have defined set X here. Okay, and suppose I have already told you that no indexing is allowed. Let me prove that. So the way we have learned list or tuple, you can see that if you define the fixed set of element, this is your 0th element, right? Index position is 0. And if suppose I want to try to access that particular element at 0th position, if I try to do that, let's see what happens. See, it is saying set object is not subscriptable. It is not able to access 0th element. So indexing, it is clear that you can not access a element through indexing. And if you cannot access the element through indexing, you cannot change the element. Okay, so this shows your unchangeable property or immutable property, and no indexing is allowed. No indexing is allowed, right? So this proves my 2 points here. But don't get confused. Like once you define a fixed set of element, it's done. No, it's not like that. You can add an element, but you cannot change those existing elements. Okay, so if I want to add any particular element, you can do that, and that's how you can see this XXX element I want to add into my existing set, and that I can do that using with the help of add method, right? You can do that. So I have taken a set here, dot add method I have taken, and this element I have defined it here. And if you do that, if you do in this way, you will get this particular element got added at the end, right? But again, as I mentioned, no sequencing is preserved, so it could get added at the end and could get added in the middle as well. So that is your this addition property, right? So yeah, you can add an element, but you cannot change your existing element. That is, your set actually preserve your immutable property. Now that point we have already proved. Now I want to show you whether it will allow you duplicate or not, right? This we have already seen, and this we have already seen, and unordered I have already shown you. Now let's see this particular property, right? So suppose Monday is already defined it here, right, in set X. If I want to add that Monday again, will a new element will get added at the end or somewhere in between? Let's see that. And you can see it is the same element, right? No extra element is added. That is a beauty, I would say, of set. Okay, and let me show you one more thing. Suppose what typically in our production code we does, suppose whenever you want to have the unique element, a set of unique element we want, we just try to typecast it as a set. Say for example, I have a list defined it here, list. Suppose that list is holding element 1, 1, 3, 2, 4, 5, 6, 6, comma 7, comma 2. Okay, so this list contain, I would say, your duplicate element. So whenever you try to convert with the help of a set, you will see that you will find a unique element. See, so that's how. And if you want a list again, you can again typecast it to list. So you can do it again, and you are good with it. So if I just do in this way, you are done, right? So that's how we can use set to eliminate your duplicate. This is one way I would say to remove, identify your unique element, or just have in a particular collection, you can just have a unique element. This is a way I have shown you it here. Let's see few operation of we perform on sets. Okay, suppose you have two sets defined, set 1 and set 2. So in set 1 we have alpha, beta, gamma as a 3 value, and in set 2 you have pi, theta, sigma. So these are the two set I have defined it here. Now suppose you want to combine them, these two sets I have to combine into a single set, into a new set. Okay, I can use an inbuilt method called union, and I can do in this way. You can see alpha, beta, gamma, and then pi, theta, sigma. All the three elements, 6 elements got added into one. So it will return you a new set, I would say, right? And if you try to see the original one, it has not made any changes to the existing set. So what you have to typically do, you have to combine them when you are using union, and you have to assign into a new set. So you can do in this way, like you can do in set 3, and that's how you can do that. You can assign it, and then you can just view that set 3. So that's how you can put it into another set. But your original set will not get impacted. S1 will not get impacted, or it will not get updated with the latest value whenever you try to union them. Okay. Similarly, there are two options actually. You can use union method, and there is a, I would say, a shortcut. There is a pipe operator you can use, and it will do the same thing. Okay, it will combine these two things, and it will show that original is nothing changed to original. In order to get the these element into another set, you can create a new set, because the function of this union method is to return you a new set. Okay, so that is your union. Let's see update. So suppose same example I'm taking. I have two set defined it here, S1 and S2, and if I want to do the update, right? So if I update, and if I show you, this is your update. Okay, so if you remember last time, union, when I was talking about, it is not inserted, or the union result was not put it back into S1. But when you use update, it actually do the union, or it combines the two set and then do the updation to set 1. So that's what it is doing right now. So remember, whenever you want to combine the two sets and you want to create a new set, you have to use union. And whenever you want to combine the set and put the results into set 1, you have to use update, right? So that's what I've shown it here. You have two sets, I've used update method, and that's how it has updated the result into S1. I hope that is clear to you. You are not getting confused with union. So union you can use two way. First way using method, second way using shortcut. But it will not assign your value to original set of S1. If you want to do that, if you want to assign the results to your set 1, you have to use update method. Okay, so what I'm trying to say, we are talking about set only, right? And suppose you want to update your set 1 is your S1 is your set, right? And suppose S3 is your list. In that case also, you can combine these two particular collections and put the results back into S1. So let me show you. So this is your S3, and you can see I am using update method. So this is your set S1, and I'm trying to take the union, or these two elements. You want to combine these two elements with the existing S1 set, you can do that, and you can see that it has combined this element. This is your element got added, right? So that's what my point is. You can use any other collection like list, tuple, dictionary to add or to combine them with the original set, right? So this is that, demonstration for that. Let's see intersection. So while studying in 9th or 10th standard, you might have seen all these set, intersection, union. This we have already taught in our elementary education. So this is those concept only. But yeah, I'm teaching you in Python language how we can do that through program, right? So again, I am declaring here S1 and S2. These are the two set. Now you want to find out the intersection of these two sets, right? So when you say intersection means common element. Okay, so if I execute this code, you will see 1 and 5. So you can see this one element and one element is common in between these two sets. 15 and 15 is common, and that's why whenever you are using intersection method, the common element between these two is given you as a result. Okay, and if I want to show you the original element, yes, intersection result again has not updated back to S1, right? So if you want to get the intersection, you have to do this intersection operation and assign. It will return you a new set which you have to store in a new variable. You can say S3. Okay, you can say S3 and S3 equal to this thing, and then whatever result will come, it will assign to S3 variable, and then that variable you can use. That is one option. Okay, this intersection you can also do it symbolically. There is AND symbol which you can use for intersection. So if I do that, see, it is giving you same result, and yeah, the result is not assigned back to S1. Now suppose you want to do the same thing, like you want to take the intersection of these two sets and you want to assign the result back to S1. You have to use method called intersection underscore update, and it will actually update your results back to S1 set. Okay, this is your intersection and intersection update method. Next one is difference. So you might have also seen minus operator that is available in SQL also. So you have two different set S1 and S2, and if you just say difference, it will tell you S1 minus S2. Okay, so whatever element it will return you from. So whenever you say S1 difference S2, or okay, let me show you in this way. So when I say S1 minus S2, sorry for my bad handwriting, S1 minus S2, it will return all the element from S1 which is not there in S2. So it will take out all the element from S1 and it will exclude these two elements, because these two elements are common, right? So it will exclude these two elements and it will return all those elements which is not there in S2. So S1 minus S2. So all records from S1 should be returned which is not there in S2. And that's why you are getting 2, 3, 4, 5. I hope this is clear to you. Okay. So that is your difference method for sets. Okay. If I show you S1, again, the result is not updated to S1. If you want to do that, you have to use a method called difference update. We are going to commit, after this execution. So this difference, there is a one way to do this operation using difference method, and there is a symbolical way also doing that, minus. Same way, right? So you can see this is give you minus, and this is your original set. It has not changed to your original set. This minus actually is an example where is a polymorphism example, right? I will talk about that in my coming videos, what is OOPS concept. But this minus is also used for subtraction of two values, but whenever your operands are set, it will perform minus operation, difference operation. Okay, so you have to understand in that way. I'm so sorry if you are not understanding this, whatever I have just talked about, OOPS concept or polymorphism. If you have not understood, It's okay. It's okay. I'm going to talk on that in future. Okay. So I have already mentioned, like, whenever you're trying to perform the difference or minus operation, you'll get the result, but those results will not assign back to your S1. If you want to assign your result back to S1, you have to use different underscore update method. And if you do that, your results will get assigned to your S1 set. Your original S1 set was this, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 15. Now you can see it has assigned to, it has, or a result is assigned to S1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I hope this is clear to you. There is another method called symmetric difference. So in difference, you have seen that whatever element is not there, whatever common element from S1 will not be displayed, and only those elements will be displayed which is not common to S2. But in symmetric difference, what happens? It will eliminate all the column element from the two sets, and it will going to give you a result which is uncommon between these two sets. So this 1 and 15, this 1 is 1 common, 15 and 15 common. So except this 1 and 15, all the results, all the element will be returned. So this is how it return 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. The result is not again assigned back to S1. If you want to assign the result back to S1, you have to use symmetric difference update method. And this is your result assigned back to your S1, right? There is, okay, so this is all about, I would say, the combining multiple sets or join operation. Let's talk about validation method. So suppose this is your S1, this is your S2. In the S1 I have defined element 1, 2, 3. S11 I have defined 100 and 200, and this is your S2, 1, 11, 12, 13, 15, 3 and 2, right? This is your set. Now this, I am just trying to check whether this S1 is a subset of S2. So there is a method called is subset, and it is saying true. This S2, S11 is whether a subset or not. So when I say subset, it means that you have to check the element, whether this element is there or not. 1 is there, 2 is there, and 3 is there. So definitely this is a subset. S1 is subset of S2, and that is why it is saying true. But if you see S11, 100 and 200 is not there in S2. So if you say S11 is subset of S2, no, it is not. Right? Similarly, other way, whether S2 is a superset of S1, yes, it is. So that's why it is true. And whether S2 is a superset of S11, no, it is not. Right? So this is your validation method for sets. Now let's move to the last section. We have seen the addition, how we can add it, how we can merge multiple sets. We have also seen some validation method. Let's see how you can remove an element from a set. So suppose this is your set, defined it here. Okay. Now you want to remove Monday element from your set. You can use remove method. Okay. And your Monday will be removed. Similarly, there is another method called discard. So Tuesday you can use for removal. So these two does the same thing, but there is a minor difference. If suppose Monday is already removed, right? It is not present right now. If you want to execute the code again, it will give you error. Okay. But if you want, this Tuesday is also not there in the set, but if you try to execute it, it will not give you error. Simply, how many times you will run, it will not complain, or it will not give you any error. Okay. That is the basic difference between remove and discard. It will actually removes your element from your set. There is another method called pop. Actually, it picks up the last element and it removes. So if I use it, it will remove the last element, and the order is not preserved. Okay. So don't tell me that, okay, Wednesday is already there, how you are saying that it is removed the last element. Whatever in their memory location, the last element present, it will remove that. So if you see Friday, I think removed. Okay. So that's what, whatever Friday might be in the memory location as a last element, and that's why it removed it. Whenever you use a clear, now next method is clear. Whenever you use a clear method, it actually empty your list. Okay, list, I'm so sorry, not list, set. So it emptied your set. Okay, and suppose you want to delete it from your memory, this complete set, you can using delete method, delete statement, not method. You can use a delete statement, and that's how you can delete the complete set. And again, it is completing set is not defined because I have deleted here and I am trying to access it here, and that's why it is saying name setx is not defined. Okay. So I hope that this particular video clears all your concept related to set. And this is a, I would say, in depth. I have went through all the topics which is we want to study as a part of set in Python. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you like it, please hit the like button to my video. Please hit the like button so that I'll get some motivation. And if you have any question or comment, please put down in the comment section. I will be definitely happy to reply to them. Okay, so thanks for watching.